What is short selling? What does it mean to short a stock? Well, in this video, we're going to answer that question. But let's talk about the traditional way of investing. So let's say the price of a stock is $10 and it goes up to 20. When a stock is in an uptrend, typically an investor will buy the stock when the price is low and then sell it when it's higher. In this case, he will receive a gain of $10 per stock. But what about when the price of the stock goes down? How will an investor make money in this case? Well, an investor can make money by selling the stock when it's high, let's say when it's at 20, and then buying it back when it's lower, let's say at 10. In this case, the investor is short on a stock. In the first case, he's long on a stock. So that's what it means to short a stock. Instead of buying the stock first and then selling it later, you're selling it first only to buy it back later. And in this example, he would receive the same gain of $10 per share. If you sell it at 20, buy it back at 10, that's a gain of $10 per share. But now, how can you sell shares that you don't currently own? Because in order to own a share, you have to buy it first. So how can you sell first if you don't own a share? Well, the way short sellers do this is they borrow shares. They borrow shares from their broker, their online broker. And so what you do is you borrow the share first, then you sell it at 20, and then you buy it back at 10, and then return it back to the lender. So that's how short sellers make money when the price of the stock goes down. So now let's work on this example problem that we have on the board here to see the potential ROIs of shorting a stock. Lucy shorts 100 shares of stock XYZ at $40. She buys back 100 shares of stock XYZ when it falls to $10. Part A. Calculate Lucy's ROI, or return on investment. So she's shorting 100 shares at $40. So her initial position is $4,000. Because she's selling the stock at 40, her account will go up by 4,000. So I'm going to use the color green to indicate that her account value will increase by 4,000. Now the price of the stock is going to fall from $40 to $10, which means it's profitable to be a short seller during this time. And so she's going to buy back 100 shares at $10. And because she's buying back the shares, her account value will decrease by 100 times 10, which is 1,000. So her account was credited with $4,000 when she sold the shares at 40, and now it's debited by 1,000 when she bought the shares back at 10. So the net gain on this trade is 4,000 minus 1,000. So she made $3,000 on this trade. So that's the profit in part A. So now we need to calculate her ROI, or her return on investment, which is equal to the profit or the gain divided by the cost of investment. Now, for short sellers, the cost of investment is not the $1,000 that she had to buy back the shares. It's basically her original position. Her original position was 4,000. That's where she opened at. So for short selling, when calculating the ROI, you would treat that as if that's the cost of investment, even though she is selling the shares and not buying them at that point. So her original position is 4,000, and her profit from this trade is 3,000. If you cancel the 3 zeros, it's 3 divided by 4, which is 0.75 times 100%. So her ROI for this trade is 75%, which is pretty good. Now, the maximum ROI that someone can earn when shorting a stock is 100%, because the lowest that the stock can go to is $0. However, the potential loss from shorting a stock is greater than 100%. It could be 200 or 300%, as the next example will illustrate. Now, for those of you who want to learn how to find stocks that are going up, I've posted a video on my Patreon page, and here is the link. It's a very brief video. It's very straight to the point, and it quickly shows you how to find stocks that are going up. So feel free to take a look at that when you get a chance, and let's get back to the video. So now that you know how to calculate Lucy's ROI when she shorts a stock and when it moves in her favor, let's see what it's going to be when the stock does not move in her favor. So her original position is still $4,000. So that part hasn't changed. So I'm just going to rewrite it. Now this time, the stock goes from $40 to $100. So it's in an uptrend. So it's bad to be a short seller in this case because you're going to be losing money. It's better to go long on the stock. It's better to buy first and then sell later. So now, Lucy, based on this problem, she's going to buy back the shares at $100. So 100 times 100 is 10,000. So her account will be debited by $10,000, which means she is sitting on a loss of 4 minus 10, so that's -6, or -$6,000. So notice that her loss is greater than her original position. So if we calculate the ROI, she received a loss of -6,000, and her original position in which she opened a trade was 4,000 times 100%. 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. 1.5 times 100 is 150. So her ROI on this trade is -150%. So it's greater than her original position. And thus lies the danger in shorting a stock. If the stock doesn't move in your favor, you can lose more than the amount that you opened a trade with. Whereas if the stock does move in your favor, the most you can gain is basically your whatever position you opened at. So in the first example, the maximum profit that Lucy can receive is $4,000. Now, why can we say that? Well, the lowest value that the price of a stock can go to is $0. I haven't seen a stock with a negative value. Now, granted, I don't know if you've been watching the news lately, but due to this COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that oil prices went down, at one point, the prices of future contracts were negative for oil. Oil was going at, I think, -$37 per barrel, where people was actually getting paid to receive oil. In a situation like that, if a stock could have a negative value, then the ROI could be more than 100% for shorting a stock. But we haven't seen that happen. If that happens in the future, well, that's going to be something to see. But for now, the lowest that a stock can be is $0. So the maximum profit that she can receive is 100%, or 4,000. Now, granted, a stock really never hits absolute zero. It can get very close to it. Some stocks can fall to a penny, and some could be sub-penny stocks, which they can go down to 0.0001. But let's assume that the stock goes down to 1 cent. Let's calculate her ROI if it falls that low. So if it goes down to a penny, she needs to buy 100 shares at 1 cent. So basically, she can buy the 100 shares for a total cost of $1. So she put in 4,000, and she received 4,000, and then she's gonna put in $1 to buy back those shares. So her net profit will be $3,999. Thus, her ROI is $3,999 divided by her original position of 4,000 times 100%. So her ROI in that particular instance will be 99.975%, which is close to 100%, but not exactly. So as long as the prices of stock do not go below zero, the maximum ROI that you can receive when shorting a stock is theoretically up to 100%. The only way it's going to be more than that is if the price of a stock can reach negative territory. So that's it for this video. Hopefully it gave you a good understanding of what it means to short a stock and the potential ROIs that can be earned from doing so. So keep in mind, when shorting a stock, the greatest ROI that you could receive is up to 100%, but if the stock moves against you, if it goes up, you can lose more than your original position. Thanks for watching.